Chapter 21 Noble Restaurant. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This was Noble Restaurant, a place dripping with money. The polished gold floors gleamed under extravagant crystal chandeliers. Even the tables and chairs, crafted from expensive golden Nanmo wood, screamed wealth. Jiando Academy had plenty of these high-end restaurants, offering every delicacy imaginable at outrageous prices. Word was, a simple dish could set you back 100 gold soul coins. This was where the well-heeled students came to unwind. The quality rivaled any five-star hotel, putting it out of reach for less fortunate students. Stepping inside, Fang Xian was hit by the overpowering scent of roses, mixed with the intoxicating aroma of red wine. He was practically drunk before even taking a sip. Young couples filled the room, gazing lovingly into each other's eyes. This wasn't just a place to eat, it was date night central. When Fang Xian and Yi Lingling walked in together, a ripple of whispers spread through the restaurant. Heads turned, eyes narrowed, and finally, everyone's gaze landed on Yi Lingling. Hey, isn't that Yi Lingling? Beauty always draws attention, and Yi Lingling, a prodigy who hit level 30 before she turned 15, was like a shooting star in the academy. Guys were practically lining up to get her attention. What's going on? What's she doing here? Is that a date? Who's the pretty boy with her? Instantly, hostile stares locked onto Fang Xian. Well, looks like you're kind of a big deal, Fang Xian said, surprised. He reached out and ruffled Yi Lingling's silver hair. That was it. All eyes were on them, burning with envy. If looks could kill, Fang Xian would be dust. Stop messing with my hair. Yi Lingling snapped, swatting his hand away. Ignoring the glares, Fang Xian led Yi Lingling to a table. He grabbed a menu and started browsing. What are you in the mood for? Fang Xian, why did you bring me here? The silver-haired girl had noticed all the couples and gave Fang Xian a suspicious look. Time to get my fill, Fang Xian thought. He'd finally found a naive little piggy bank, and he wasn't about to let it go to waste. He usually ate at the student cafeteria. Places like this were way out of his budget. Lately, he'd been running on empty, surviving on cheap buns while he trained. He needed to treat himself to a feast at Noble Restaurant. And it wasn't like he was paying. Braised pork, soy sauce duck, sweet and sour fish, roast suckling pig. Fang Xian waved down a waiter. Chop chop. Right away, sir, the waiter said, snapping to attention. Money talks. Within minutes, the table was piled high with food. Fang Xian's eyes lit up, and he started digging in. How long has it been since you last ate? Yi Lingling stared at him, speechless. Fang Xian looked like he'd just crawled out of the wilderness. What a slob. A blonde guy, maybe 17 or 18, sauntered over. He sneered at Fang Xian, who was too busy stuffing his face to notice. Lingling, what are you doing with this guy? He turned to Yi Lingling, a flicker of something intense in his eyes. Humph. Yi Lingling ignored him, scooted closer to Fang Xian, and grabbed his arm. The blonde guy's eyes flashed with anger. Hey, you're cramping my style, Fang Xian complained, but to the blonde guy, this was the last straw. He'd asked Yi Lingling out 1,000,000 times, but she always turned him down. But this guy? She was practically hugging him, and he was pushing her away. He was burning with jealousy. The blonde guy glared at Fang Xian. Hey, pal, get up. I need to talk to you. About what? Fang Xian raised an eyebrow, grabbed a napkin, and wiped his hands. Stay away from Lingling, the blonde guy growled. Oh. And what if I don't want to? Fang Xian asked calmly. You will, the blonde guy said, puffing out his chest. His handsome face was full of arrogance. Once you hear my name. I'm all ears, Fang Xian said. The blonde guy thumped his chest. My name is Long. Aotian. Fang Xian almost choked. No wonder this guy was so cocky. That name alone could scare off the competition. Long Aotian. That's Long Aotian. Long Aotian. The best in the Tianwei level. I heard he's won 9 straight championships in the Tianwei arena. He's the most promising new student this year. Whispers of admiration rippled through the restaurant. Aotian was a rising star. He'd already hit level 24, and people were saying he'd break level 30 before he even turned 20. The stories don't do you justice. Fang Xian said, barely holding back a laugh. Good. You know my name, Aotian said, crossing his arms. Forgive me for asking, but do you have a brother named Liangchen? Fang Xian joked. Hey, how did you know? Aotian asked, surprised. Ha 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 ha. Fang Xian burst out laughing. Chapter 22 Aotian and Liangchen, please vote for recommendations on Monday. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Aotian and Liangchen are practically legends at the academy. Aotian's the top dog at the Tianwei level, and Liangchen reigns supreme at the Tianji level. They're both the best of the best among their peers, unless a Tiando level student, like, level 30 or higher, steps in. This place is pretty much their playground. Alright, punk, now you know my name. You gonna hand over Yi Lingling nice and easy, or am I gonna have to toss you out myself? Aotian acted all high and mighty, giving Fang Xian a dismissive once-over, not even registering that pretty face. He knew all the big shots in the academy, and he'd never seen Fang Xian before. In his book, this dude was just using his looks to get with Yi Lingling. What's Aotian got to be afraid of with a softy like that? Fang Xian just smirked. Show me your martial spirit. Fine, but don't say I didn't warn you. Aotian's face hardened, and golden soul power blazed around him. He let out a roar that shook the whole restaurant, and a red gold mountain axe materialized in his hand. Then, 2 soul rings, both yellow, appeared as his great soul master aura pulsed outward. Eat this. Aotian glowed with golden light, hefting his mountain-splitting axe high and bringing it down on Fang Xian's head with a mighty whoosh. Shadow drawing technique. Fang Xian's eyes flashed, and he drew his blade. The shadowless knife sang as it left its sheath, becoming a streak of cold light that met the mountain axe head-on. Boom! The crash was deafening. Everyone watched in stunned silence as Aotian coughed up blood and went flying, smashing through tables and chairs. Even his mountain axe looked like it had taken a beating, turning dull before vanishing back into his body as a stream of light. Ugh, no. Impossible. What did you do? Aotian was shell-shocked, staring at Fang Xian in disbelief. 1 slice. Just 1 slice. It felt like he'd been hit by a mountain, every inch of him screaming in pain. The force of the blow had sent him reeling, and even his martial soul had been damaged. Who the heck was this guy? Fear gripped Aotian as he saw Fang Xian walking toward him, knife in hand. The hairs on his neck stood up. He looked at Fang Xian like he was a monster. What do you want? Fang Xian didn't flinch, the shadowless knife glinting coldly. He walked right up to Aotian, stared down at him with murderous intent, and said, Hey, got any cash on you? Aotian blinked, blurting out, Yeah. How much? Not much, maybe 200 gold soul coins. Oh, aren't you supposed to be number 1? You're kind of broke. I used to have tens of thousands, but I blew it all on girls. Didn't even get a date out of it, sigh. Okay, fork over the dough, and I'll let you go. In broad daylight, Fang Xian was shaking him down for money, and everyone was speechless. Such a bully. Yi Lingling pouted. Fang Xian had just taken down Aotian with a single blow. It was kind of impressive. But then he went and ruined it by demanding money. The heroic image Fang Xian had built up shattered in her mind. Sweet. 200 gold soul coins in the bank. Fang Xian was counting the stolen money, looking pleased with himself. There's always a bigger fish, right? That's how it usually goes, but Fang Xian didn't plan on playing by the rules. You gonna go run and get your big brother? He caught the resentful look in Aotian's eyes, figuring the dude was planning a rematch. Don't bother. I'll go with you and take care of your brother too. Aotian. 20 minutes later, the intermediate training ground, Fangxian, Yilingling, and Long Aotian arrived in the center of the field. It was noon, the sun high in the sky, shining down through the leaves onto a group of young people practicing. These were all Tianji level students, their soul power somewhere between level 25 and 30, a step above the Tianwei level. At Tiando Academy, these were the students who would carry the school's banner in the future. Among them was a young man in his 20s who stood out. He was older than the rest, and his soul power shone brighter. The young man took a deep breath after his exercise, slowly coming out of his meditation. The cyan soul power faded from his body, and he seemed even stronger than before. He opened his eyes, sensing the increase in his soul power, a hint of satisfaction on his face. His dark eyes noticed the three figures. He frowned. "Aotian, what are you doing here?" That he recognized his younger brother, Long Aotian, and Jiuxin Haitang Yilingling. He didn't recognize the black-haired kid. "Bro." Long Aotian walked up to Liangchen. I brought someone here to kick your butt." "Huh," that Liangchen was confused. "Aotian, what did you say?" "You asking for a beating?" That they had different last names, but they were brothers. One took their father's name, the other their mother's. Liangchen was the older one, and Long Aotian was the younger. They usually got along pretty well, but today, Liangchen thought his brother might need a smack. No. Long Aotian realized his mistake and waved his hands. "He made me bring him to beat you up," that he pointed at Fangxian, looking totally innocent. "What's going on?" "Aotian, did you start something again?" Liangchen raised an eyebrow, glancing at Fangxian, a question in his eyes. "Okay, I started it, but this guy won't let it go and wants to stir up trouble for us." Long Aotian looked annoyed, regretting ever provoking Fangxian in the first place. Liangchen's aura was much stronger than Long Aotian's. He seemed to have broken through level 30. He was one of the strongest in the whole Tiando Royal Academy. Fangxian's cold eyes scanned Liangchen, a smirk on his face. "Liangchen, save the questions. I'm taking you out before you come looking for me." Chapter 23 Hehe Woman. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. The training ground exploded the second he finished speaking. "That punk's actually trying to pick a fight with senior brother Liangchen. Huh, he's got a death wish. Liangchen, teach him a lesson. Take him out with one punch." Sarcastic comments flew from every direction as the other students looked at Fangxian with contempt. Everyone knew Liangchen was the top dog in the Tianji level. Hardly anyone at the academy could beat him. This nobody shows up out of nowhere and challenges Liangchen. The guy's got no clue. "Kill me." "Interesting." Liangchen tilted his head back, gave Fangxian a cold stare, and a smirk tugged at his lips. "I admire your guts, but I'd advise you to apologize now, while you still can." Fangxian didn't say anything, just kept his eyes locked on Liangchen. "I could take you on as my underling. Everyone at the academy would know you lost to Liangchen. No shame in that." Liangchen puffed out his chest, already acting like he'd won. That kind of arrogance would rub most people the wrong way, but for Liangchen, it was just confidence. He had the skills to back it up. "Bro, don't underestimate this guy. He's strong." Long Aotian, having just been humiliated by Fangxian, knew how tough this newcomer was and tried to warn his brother, but instead of taking Long Aotian's advice, Liangchen backhanded him across the face, knocking him flat. Liangchen, looking like he was ready to explode, pointed at Long Aotian and yelled, "What have I been telling you? You gotta be confident. Develop some backbone. No matter who you're up against, you gotta believe you can win." That he kept shouting, "Aotian, where's your pride?" "That my pride? This guy just beat it out of me." Long Aotian, already hurting from the smackdown, now got chewed out by his brother. He hung his head like a scolded puppy, not daring to say a word. "Okay, enough talk. Show me your soul spirit." Fangxian frowned. These two were way too chatty. "Prepare to die, kid." Liangchen finally shut up and roared, black soul power swirling around him. The shadow of a demonic wolf began to materialize around his body. At the same time, 3 glowing soul rings, yellow, and purple, appeared at his feet, and a wave of power crashed out like a tidal wave. 3 soul rings. Everyone gasped. Senior brother Liangchen broke through to Soul Master. When did that happen? We had no idea. This guy's got some serious power. Even Yi Lingling was surprised. Yi Liangchen had leveled up to Soul Master without anyone knowing, and he'd even scored a 1,000-year soul ring. This was big news. Now there'd be one more monster-level student at the academy. A real showstopper. This was exactly the reaction Yi Liangchen was going for. He basked in the shocked faces around him, his ego swelling with pride. Let me introduce myself, Yi Liangchen, a Tianjia-level student, martial spirit, dark demonic wolf, level 30 battle soul master. Yi Liangchen laughed, full of swagger. Channeling his soul power, he charged at Fang Xian, his demonic wolf fist, wrapped in a wolf-shaped shadow, aimed at Fang Xian's head. Whoosh! The sound of a blade being drawn sliced through the air, frost crystallized on the invisible knife, and wisps of icy air spread, turning it into a blade of ice and snow. It ripped through the air and struck Yi Liangchen with terrifying force. Boom! The ice and snow blade slammed into Yi Liangchen's demonic wolf fist. The raw power of the blade sent Yi Liangchen flying. Facing a 3-ringed soul master, Fang Xian wasn't holding back. He instantly activated his Ice Phoenix spirit and unleashed his ice sword. With a brutal strike, he knocked Yi Liangchen off his feet. Ugh! Yi Liangchen coughed up blood, his face pale, and tumbled through the air. He skidded across the ground for 5 meters, then rolled 3 more times. His cheeks and arms were scraped and bruised, and his hair was covered in dirt. He looked pathetic, his pride completely gone. How is this possible? How can you be so strong? His face was a mask of shock. He struggled to point at Fang Xian, who was walking towards him, blade in hand, face expressionless. 1 sword. He beat Yi Liangchen with 1 sword. Who is this guy? The onlookers were stunned, staring at Fang Xian like he was a freak. He'd taken out a 3-ringed soul master, Yi Liangchen, with a single blow. Not even a top-tier Tianjia-level student could pull that off. This guy was a monster, all that talk for nothing, and it came down to 1 blade. Fang Xian smirked and approached Yi Liangchen, his cold eyes piercing the latter's heart like daggers. Yi Liangchen couldn't help but tremble. What are you going to do? Staring into those killer eyes, Yi Liangchen felt a chill run down his spine. He was truly terrified. All that wasted time. Just hand over the money. Fang Xian pressed the blade to Yi Liangchen's neck and threatened him coldly. Okay. Yi Liangchen stammered, instinctively reaching for his money. He looked like a kid getting shaken down by a bully. Everyone watching was dumbstruck. 1 second ago, he was this hero who defeated Yi Liangchen, and the next he was resorting to mugging people in broad daylight. 1,000 gold soul coins. After robbing Yi Liangchen, he finally had 1,000 gold soul coins. Add in the 200 gold soul coins Aotian coughed up, and Fang Xian had a total of 1,200 gold soul coins. He was loaded, he couldn't help but smile. Bro. Aotian and Yi Liangchen, brothers in misery, looked at each other and hugged, sharing their pain. Before he knew it, dusk was falling. Fang Xian and Yi Lingling left the training grounds and walked to an intersection on the main campus before stopping. Fang Xian, it's getting late. I'm heading back. I'll come hang out with you later. Yi Lingling waved at Fang Xian. Don't. Fang Xian said with some annoyance, he needed to practice, he didn't have time to hang out. Humph. Fine, I'll bother you every day from now on. Yi Lingling glared at Fang Xian, then spun around and ran toward the girls' dorms. Ugh, that's gonna be a pain. Fang Xian shook his head. Once you get involved with girls, it's just endless trouble, especially a silver-haired little Lolita like Yilingling. Girls. Chapter 24 Dugu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Ultimate Sword System, host, Feng Xian, level, LV21, title, Great Soul Master, soul power, 10/210, skill, basic sword draw, 99 out of 100, unique sword, 0, martial souls, Ice Phoenix soul, basic 52/100, nine-hearted begonia soul, basic 1 out of 100, abilities, ice knife, healing knife. 3 days flew by, Feng Xian stayed home, grinding away at his training, whoosh, star, like a razor through the wind, his blade flashed. A willow, thick as a man's waist, split clean in two with a crack. Impressive, but Feng Xian frowned, still feeling something was off. It's just, lacking something. He couldn't quite put his finger on it, but his sword draw felt incomplete, not powerful enough. That's it. Not enough oomph. Missing that unstoppable force, a true swordsman should dominate with a single strike. Feng Xian realized practicing on stationary objects wasn't cutting it. He needed real opponents to unlock his unique power. Seriously? This is the place. Talk about a dump. Lingling, you sure the person you're talking about lives here? A flirty voice cut through the air outside. Feng Xian raised an eyebrow, seeing two stunning girls holding hands, heading for his door, looking cozy. Each one was a knockout. Together, they were the most eye-catching sight on campus. The one on the left looked a little older, maybe 17 or 18, with streaks of purple in her hair, and captivating eyes that hinted at mischief. Her figure was slender, almost snake-like. A real beauty. This purple-haired girl was none other than Dugu, one of the geniuses from Tiando Academy. The other girl, with silver hair and a black dress, had cold, detached eyes, and an elegance like a lotus flower. The silver-haired girl was, of course, Yilingling. Today, Yilingling wasn't wearing her usual veil. Her rosy cheeks were slightly chubby, making her look incredibly cute and appealing. Trouble at the door. Seeing the two beauties, Feng Xian didn't feel joy or excitement. Instead, his heart sank, sensing trouble. Hi. Feng Xian, good morning, Yilingling, standing on the doorstep, cheeks flushed, bravely waved and greeted him. Feng Xian didn't respond. He walked straight to the two girls and slammed the door in their faces, catching them completely off guard. Smooth and decisive, no hesitation. He even threw the bolt. Dugu and Yilingling just stared at the closed door, speechless. What's his problem? What happened to good manners? Dugu was the first to explode, her pretty face contorting in anger. Guys had been chasing her forever, and she usually ignored them. Now, she'd actually come to him, and he rejected her. Unbelievable. She put her hands on her hips and snapped at Yilingling. Lingling, this is your savior? The guy you've been mooning over for days? He just slammed the door in our faces. Yen, stop it. I never said I was mooning over him. Yilingling's face turned crimson, glaring at Dugu. You didn't have to. Someone as sharp as me can read between the lines. Dugu scoffed, turning her attention to the rickety door. On impulse, she kicked it open. Inside, Feng Xian was practicing his sword, oblivious to them. Hey! You're Feng Xian, right? Dugu strutted up to Feng Xian, hands on her hips, and sized him up. I hear you're supposed to be pretty good. First, you took down a 1,000-year soul beast with one strike, then you beat Aotian and Liangchen. Those two are useless, but it still shows you've got some skill. Feng Xian stared at Dugu, wondering what she wanted. Humph. Dugu glanced at the broken wood and trees around them, smirked, and said, Feng Xian, you look bored practicing alone. Why don't you spar with me? I can show you how things work around here. Dugu unleashed her soul power, and her clothes fluttered. Yellow, purple. 3 brilliant soul rings materialized around her feet, and a wave of energy exploded outward, shaking the courtyard. Soul Lord, Fang Xian's eyes widened, then a smile crept across his face. Excitement filled his voice. All right. Chapter 25. You are dirty. You are shameless. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Soul Lord. And not just any Soul Lord. Judging by the sheer power radiating from Dugu, she makes those Liangchen guys look like amateurs. She's a genuine leader among the younger generation. Level isn't the only thing that matters when it comes to soul master strength. The quality of their martial soul and the age of their soul rings are just as important. A soul master with a top-tier martial soul can easily take down opponents several levels above them. Dugu is a prime example. She's the granddaughter of Dugu, one of the title Douluo, and her family's signature martial soul, the green-scaled snake, is both rare and powerful. Fang Xian's ready to rumble. This is exactly the kind of challenge he's been looking for. Dugu, level 34 Battle Soul Master. Martial Soul, Green-Scaled Snake. Dugu announced, following the standard pre-fight etiquette. Fang Xian always thought the whole pre-fight announcement thing in DouluoDalu was ridiculous. Why give your opponent a heads up about your strengths? He prefers the low-key mortal flow approach mixed with some senior brother flow steadiness. That's how you stay alive in this world, so, he stayed quiet. Hey, you know the drill, right? I gave you my name. Your turn. She gave a sassy hip sway. Nah. Fang Xian thought to himself, only an idiot would tell you. You. Her eyes narrowed with annoyance, and the phantom of the green-scaled snake flickered behind her. They were about to throw down when, Lingling, the silver-haired Lolita, darted between them, looking worried. Hey, Yen, Fang Xian, what are you doing? We're all classmates. Why are we fighting? Lingling, move. I'm gonna teach this jerk a lesson. Dugu snapped. Yen, I didn't bring you here to fight Fang Xian. Lingling looked up, her cheeks puffed out in frustration. As Lingling pleaded Fang Xian's case, she suddenly found herself floating. That she glanced back to see Fang Xian had grabbed her by the collar, hoisted her up like a teddy bear, and unceremoniously tossed her aside. Little one, stay out of this. Lingling landed on her rear with a whoosh, looking up at the indifferent young man with a pout. She was sticking up for him, and he just chucked her. Even Dugu was speechless. What an ungrateful punk. Okay, now there's no one in the way. Fire lit up Fang Xian's eyes, and a grin stretched across his face. Dugu, don't hold back. Let's go all out. Ugh. Dugu face flushed, and she bristled with rage. You creep. What are you even talking about? Go all out. Pervert. Shameless. Fang Xian looked confused. What's wrong with you girls? I meant, let's have a real fight. This Dugu got a seriously dirty mind. Probably reads too many trashy novels. Some girls just have a head start in that department, that's all. Jerk, pig, scumbag. I'm going to teach you some manners. Dugu face was now crimson. As a level 34 soul master, she was way ahead of Fang Xian's level 13. Combined with the rare jade scale snake martial soul, her green soul power erupted, creating a powerful gust of wind. First soul skill, green scales, red poison. A shimmering green mist enveloped her. She opened her mouth and spewed out a cloud of red poisonous vapor. Then, Dugu glowed brightly, her soul power seemingly boosted. Even her usually sharp eyes shone with newfound intensity. Fang Xian's expression turned serious. He knew this was Dugu first soul skill, green scales, red poison. A stimulant that amps up her attack power and speed by 20%. This poisonous snake girl is covered in venom and spines, so this is gonna be tough. With her superior martial soul and soul ring age, Dugu was a top prodigy. He couldn't afford to be complacent, so he focused his mental energy and took her seriously. Hehe, her slender hands crackled with raw soul power, her fingers clenched into a fist. The punch cut through the air, aimed straight for Fang Xian's head. Dugu Yan was going all out from the start, putting everything behind that punch and hoping to finish things with one blow. Clang! The shadowless blade leaped from its scabbard, flashing through the air. The blade whistled as it split the air, clashing with Dugu Yan's fist. Sword drawl. Fang Xian wasn't holding back either. Despite Dugu Yan being a girl, she was a serious threat. He drew his sword and faced the level 34 Soul Master head-on. Boom! 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 Soul power surged through the courtyard, creating gusts of wind and beastly roars. The two combatants fought fiercely, kicking up dust and rocks and shaking the entire courtyard. Soul power +1, +1, +1, Fang Xian entered the zone. As the battle raged, the sound of successful sword draws rang in his head, rapidly increasing his soul power. Fighting a worthy opponent was way better than whacking a tree. He'd already gained 10 points, and the rate was steadily climbing. He kinda didn't want to stop slashing at Dugu Yan. This girl was great for sword practice. Dugu Yan's purple hair whipped around her face. You jerk, Fang Xian. Vulgar and shameless. The girl was furious, as Fang Xian kept targeting her clothes. Her beautiful purple dress had become tattered from his sharp blade. Then, a sliver of sword light sliced through Dugu Yan's white belt. Whoa! Good times. On the fourth day of disconnection, SB Telecom. Chapter 26. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ugh! The girl's scream ripped through the air, hitting the sky. A piece of her robe was torn at the shoulder, revealing skin as smooth and white as ivory. It glowed in the courtyard's light. What's with the screeching? You'd think I actually did something. Fang Xian frowned, annoyed by her overreaction. He figured he'd been going easy on her, otherwise, his earlier strike would have sent Dugu Yan flying. You're despicable, disgusting, and just plain gross. Dugu Yan's face flushed crimson, her purple hair bristling as she shrieked, Fang Xian, I'm gonna kill you. Reason abandoned her. Pure rage flooded her brain, her emotions spiraling out of control. The green-scaled snake hovering nearby roared wildly, shaking the entire courtyard. Roar! The snake's cold eyes locked onto Fang Xian with murderous intent, and a cloud of bizarre purple poison mist suddenly spewed forth. Third soul skill, green scales, purple poison. This was Dugu Yan's most potent attack at the moment. Amplified by her third soul skill, the snake's venom was incredibly toxic, enough to kill 50 cows instantly. Yen, stop. You can't use that kind of poison, it'll kill him. Yi Lingling, horrified to see Dugu Yan resorting to such desperate measures, tried to intervene, but it was already too late. What do I do? Fang Xian's gonna get himself killed. The silver-haired little loli wrung her hands, her face etched with worry. Poison, huh? Facing the oncoming wave of jade-scaled purple venom, Fang Xian's eyes remained cold, showing no hint of fear. He remembered that in the original storyline, this very venom, powerful enough to threaten the entire Shrek Academy, was supposed to be countered by something as simple as realgar and wine. I'm not taking that chance. Nine-hearted begonia. Healing blade. Moonlight surged from the shadowless blade, and pure white petals, like cherry blossoms, fluttered around him, imbued with a sacred light. The blade fearlessly sliced through the storm of poison mist. Then, something miraculous occurred. The normally lethal venom dissipated at a speed that was visible to the naked eye, neutralized by the holy light radiating from the nine-hearted begonia. The purple fog, which had threatened to engulf half the courtyard, vanished in huge swathes. Fang Xian raised his gleaming shadowless blade high, broke through the remaining poison, and charged straight toward Dugu Yan. My poison, it's being countered. How is this even possible? Panic washed over Dugu Yan's face. She couldn't believe her ultimate attack was being so easily deflected. The long blade whistled through the air, creating a gust of wind. She could feel the icy chill emanating from it, as if it threatened to pierce her heart. No, the breath of death hit her square in the face. Even Dugu Yan, with all her bravado, couldn't help but scream in terror, scrambling backward to escape Fang Xian's attack, but Dugu Yan was too panicked, her movements clumsy. There was no way she could dodge Fang Xian's sharp and precise strike. Swish, a flash of cold light and a long, snow-white blade rested against the girl's swan-like neck. The icy light danced along the edge, sending shivers down Dugu Yan's spine. You lose. Fang Xian stared coldly at Dugu Yan, his shadowless blade radiating an aura of frigid power. Dugu Yan stared back at this man, cold and detached. It was the first time in her life that she had felt true fear. She swallowed hard, meeting Fang Xian's gaze with wide, blank eyes. Soul power plus 18, Fang Xian had absorbed a full 18 points of soul power from this fight, more than he'd gained in 3 days of training. At this rate, he'd be leveling up again soon. This is a good sign. In the future, he could challenge other strong students to hone his sword drawing technique. It was proving far more effective than solo practice. He calmly removed the shadowless blade from Dugu Yan's neck and sheathed it. He figured he could probably absorb more soul power from the girl in the future. As Fang Xian turned away, Dugu Yan seemed to snap. Seemingly unwilling to accept defeat, she suddenly clenched her fist, gritted her teeth, and charged toward Fang Xian, yelling, "You bastard, this girl's got a death wish, Fang Xian sneered. The blood coursed through his veins, and golden soul power erupted like molten lava. He fixed her with his gaze, raised his right fist, and swung with explosive force. The blow ripped through the air, slamming into Dugu Yan's chest like a cannonball. Crack, the sound of breaking bones echoed in the courtyard. Dugu Yan's face turned deathly pale as her chest caved in. Blood trickled from the corner of her mouth. Her body flew like a broken kite, sailing through the air for nearly 20 feet before slamming into the outer wall. Having defeated Dugu Yan with a single punch, Fang Xian stood with disheveled hair and cold eyes, radiating an aura of murderous intent. Initially, for Yi Lingling's sake, he hadn't wanted to hit her hard. However, Dugu Yan, clearly spoiled and entitled, kept pushing his buttons. He was no pushover. This blow would teach her a lesson. Yen. Are you okay? Seeing the scene unfold, Yi Lingling frantically rushed to Dugu Yan's side. The nine-hearted begonia blossomed, an array of milky white light enveloped the girl, instantly mending her injuries. Fang Xian had only intended to teach Dugu Yan a lesson, not kill her. Otherwise, that punch would have been fatal. However, she failed to recognize his mercy. As soon as she recovered, she flew into a rage and started mouthing off. Fang Xian, you just wait. Dugu Yan was enraged, unwilling to accept her defeat. Her face was cold, and she glared at Fang Xian, adding, I'm not forgetting what happened today. When the genius battle comes around, I'm gonna beat you to a pulp. She grabbed Yi Lingling's hand, adding, let's go, Lingling. And spun around, looking at the disheveled Dugu Yan. Fang Xiandao called out, Dugu Yan, let's spar again sometime. Hearing this, Dugu Yan stumbled. She whirled around, shot Fang Xian a venomous glare, and then left without another word. Alone in the courtyard, Fang Xian leaned against the wall, lost in thought. Genius Battle. Chapter 27 Battle of Geniuses. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Time flies, and half a month whips by. The morning sun streams through the crystal window, lighting up a fair and handsome face. Wisps of energy curl around him, ruffling his dark hair. Young man sits cross-legged in bed, eyes closed in quiet meditation. Whoosh! Golden energy flows systematically through his body, coursing through every vein, finally converging in his core, becoming a stream of pure power. Suspended within him are two spirits, an icy blue ice phoenix and a pure white nine-hearted begonia. They seem to come alive with the influx of energy, the phoenix spreading its wings and the begonia taking flight. The elements harmonize, creating a scene of serene beauty inside him. Boom! A brilliant golden light explodes from the young man, flooding the room. Level up. Congratulations on reaching level 22. Fang Xian exhales slowly, joy lighting up his eyes. After 2 weeks of grinding, he's finally broken through, leveling up in just half a month. Anyone who heard about that kind of progress would freak out. He opens his stats screen to check his current condition, the ultimate sword draw system, host, Feng Xian, level, LV22, title, Great Soul Master, soul power, 0 out of 220, skill, basic sword draw technique, 99 out of 100, God-given sword, 0, martial spirits, Ice Phoenix spirit, basic 57/100, nine-hearted begonia spirit, basic 5/100, talent, ice knife, healing knife. His soul power is improving fast, but his sword draw technique is still stuck, and his spirit upgrade is crawling. At this rate, it'll take at least a year to accumulate enough spirit proficiency to level up, plus, his sword draw technique feels completely stalled. Even though his success rate is high, he can't seem to reach the next level. He just needs a spark. Feng Xian's eyes harden. He gently strokes the white sword, wooing, sensing that his sword draw skills can be stronger, and he just needs that one chance to reach the next level. And if he wants to keep improving, just grinding away here isn't going to cut it. A real life-or-death fight might be the breakthrough he needs, and this time, he doesn't have to risk his neck in the Soul Beast Forest. Because Tiando Academy's annual Genius Battle is about to start. Genius Battle. Feng Xian murmurs, his cheeks flushing with anticipation. This battle of the best and brightest in the academy is bound to be amazing. He grips the sword handle, his heart pounding with excitement. The Genius Battle is a yearly event at Tiando Academy, designed to test student progress, and foster improvement through competition. It's second only to the Continental Elite Soul Master Academy competition, held every 5 years. The Academy's top teachers, 3 super powerful education committee members, and even members of the royal family will all be there to watch, making it a huge spectacle. And a competition like that comes with some seriously sweet prizes. Every year, the Genius Battle offers ridiculously rare rewards that everyone drools over. Okay, so maybe there aren't any 100,000-year-old soul rings or soul bones, but there are plenty of natural treasures that boost soul power, along with soul tools, cash, titles, fame, the works. If you're strong enough, you can get anything you want. The weather is perfect this morning, clear skies and bright sunshine. In the main campus, a pretty teacher in her 20s is leading a dozen students in a practice session. This teacher has fiery red hair, a cute face, a cherry red mouth, and a brightly colored dress that shows off her curves. Every move she makes has the boys staring. She's a fully grown knockout with a killer body and a seductive vibe that those 13 or 14-year-old girls can't even touch. With a goddess like that teaching, the guys in her class are living the dream. Most of them spend the whole time staring at her. Avalanche. Focus. The teacher's eyes flash as she cracks a small crimson whip at the student who's been clearly distracted, checking out her chest. The other students snicker. Her name is Rulan, and she's in charge of one of the top-level classes. Out of 25 teachers, she's the best, getting the best results, and generally killing it. She's a total hottie, but she's also a level 49 soul sect. She'll probably get her 5th soul ring and hit the Soul King level within a year, tops. Teacher Rulan's got a temper as fiery as her hair. She'll smack Xuebang, the Empire's 4th prince, without batting an eye if he acts up in class. At Tiando Academy, no matter your title, bloodline, or status, even if you're royal, you have to follow the rules and listen to the teachers. Otherwise, these spoiled kids would be running wild. Here, there are no princes or nobles, just strength and skill. Sorry, teacher. Xuebing rubs the side of his face, embarrassed, and slides back into the group, while everyone else is still chuckling, as the other students listen to Teacher Rulan's instructions, totally absorbed. There's one guy off to the side, sitting under a tree with a sword, looking aloof and out of place. Well, that's a surprise. His Highness, who's always late or skipping, is actually showing up for class. Suddenly, Teacher Rulan turns and gives the black-haired guy under the tree a teasing look. If I remember right, today's assessment day, Feng Xian says, glancing at Teacher Rulan. Oh. You're actually planning to take the assessment? Rulan covers her mouth, surprised. I already reported you as failing. You can pack your bags and go home. What did you say? Fang Xian's eyes twitch. P.S. I've been cut off from the world for 5 days now, and I feel like I'm dying. I'm so mad at telecom. I can't live without internet. I've wasted a ton of money on mobile data and I don't even know. Thanks for the recommendations, guys. I'm still planning on doing 2 updates today, and will post the second one at 8 p.m. I'm trying to evolve into a 3-update beast. Keep the recommendations coming. Please recommend. Please collect. Please invest. Thank you. Chapter 28. Why are you yelling so loudly? You are listening at MaleProtagonist. Tiendo Academy has a strict rule: anyone who doesn't reach level 21 after a year of training gets kicked out. This standard is there to weed out the spoiled rich kids who coast by without putting in the work. Wait, are you saying you've already marked me as failing? Fang Xian's voice rose, his face darkening as he locked eyes with Teacher Rulan. Just kidding. Teacher Rulan burst out laughing, waving her hand dismissively. Honestly, she enjoyed messing with this kid, always so serious. This barely out of his teens brat acted like he'd seen it all. Seeing this usually calm, almost unnervingly composed young man get flustered gave Rulan a weird sense of satisfaction. Jerk, Fang Xian muttered, a slight twitch at the corner of his mouth. Clearly annoyed, he wondered if Qian Renxue was deliberately trying to mess with him, placing him in Rulan's class and making him classmates with Shuebang. 2 princes in the same class, one a spoiled brat, the other a good-for-nothing. What a combo. But he usually skipped class anyway, holing up at home to practice his swordsmanship, only showing up occasionally to keep up appearances. He used to be a straight-A student, now he was the teacher's problem child. I figured you'd forgotten about today's assessment. Teacher Rulan ran a hand through her fiery red hair, her gentle, watery eyes hardening as she stared at Fang Xian. If you dared to show up for the assessment, you must be confident. Yep. Fang Xian nodded, his expression serious. His soul power had reached level 22, exceeding the Academy's requirement by a level. In that case, show me your soul rings, Teacher Rulan said quietly. Soul rings were a quick way to gauge a soul master's current strength. If Fang Xian was really up to par, he should have 2 by now. Fang Xian hesitated. I don't. Now it was Teacher Rulan's turn to be taken aback. What do you mean, you don't? She demanded, her voice rising. I don't have any soul rings yet, but my soul power is at the required level. You were born with level 20 soul power? No, I worked my way to level 22. Rulan and Fang Xian stared at each other, their expressions comically contrasting. You worked your way to level 22. Without soul rings? Teacher Rulan gritted her teeth, raising an eyebrow. She balled her fists, shouting at Fang Xian, "You're lying!" That the angry outburst sent strands of her delicate black hair flying, and the force of it pushed Fang Xian back a few steps. Don't believe me, fine, but did you have to yell so loud? The roar was anything but ordinary, infused with the soul power of a soul sect. Fang Xian felt like he was facing a terrifying banshee, the hairs on his arms standing on end. Teacher, if you don't believe me, find an instrument to test my soul power yourself. Fang Xian insisted. No need for that. I think what you need isn't testing, but a good attitude adjustment. Teacher Rulan had been growing increasingly frustrated with this rebellious student, and the anger she'd been suppressing finally exploded. Hey, you, come here. She pointed into the crowd, and a dozen students exchanged confused glances, wondering who she was talking about. If they remembered correctly, nobody had that name. Losing her temper, Teacher Rulan fixed her gaze on Shuebang in the crowd. Shuebang, I'm talking to you. Get over here. Okay, teacher. Shuebang looked startled, then quickly hurried to Teacher Rulan's side, ready to follow her orders. Idiot, not to me. Over there. Teacher Rulan glared at Shuebang, pointing at Fang Xian. You. Go beat him. Among the students in this top-tier academy, Shuebang's strength, at level 23, wasn't exceptional, but he should have no problem dealing with problem student Fang Xian. More importantly, these two were brothers, one a spoiled brat, the other a loser. A little brotherly duel was in order. A sly smile played on Teacher Rulan's lips as she entertained her mischievous idea. What's going on? Fang Xian frowned, looking at Teacher Rulan in confusion. Simple. Fang Xian, if you beat Xuebeng, I'll admit you've reached the required standard and can stay in the academy. If you can't, pack your bags and leave quietly. Tiando Academy won't waste resources on dead weight. Teacher Rulan said calmly. Before Fang Xian could respond, Xuebeng interjected with a look of disgust. Teacher, I refuse. Why would someone of my status duel with such a despicable person? Fang Xian was just a lowborn illegitimate son, not even worthy of inheriting the royal family name, while Xuebeng was the fourth prince of the prestigious Tiando Empire, a member of the royal family. Although they were brothers in name, Xuebeng had never acknowledged Fang Xian, his useless brother, and they had never exchanged a word in the academy. Shut up. I told you to beat Fang Xian. I didn't ask for your opinion. Teacher Rulan snapped, her level 49 soul power rippling outward, sending a shiver down Xuebeng's spine. Yes, teacher. Xuebeng nodded obediently and followed Teacher Rulan's order. He stepped forward, his level 23 soul power surging like a strong wind, causing his luxurious goose-yellow robe to flutter. At the same time, two soul rings, yellow and yellow, appeared, and the Tiando royal family's exclusive swan martial soul emerged around him, confirming his status as a true member of the royal family. Xuebeng looked down at Fang Xian with disdain, sneering, "You little bastard, you might as well give up. Now. Otherwise, I might accidentally break an arm or two." Fang Xian stared calmly at the arrogant Xuebeng, remaining silent. You have a death wish. I'll show you, an impure bloodline, the power of the Tiando royal family's swan martial soul. Xuebeng let out a wild laugh as a white swan shimmered around him. He charged forward, throwing a punch at Fang Xian. Suddenly, Fang Xian's eyes widened. In one swift motion, he drew the shadowless knife from its sheath, the blade flashed like lightning, and Xuebeng screamed as blood spurted and he went flying. The audience was stunned. Chapter 29. Are the book club interested? You are listening at novelfull.audio. So, you want to join the group? If not, no sweat, just head out, drop a line below, all 20 of you, and the secret group number will be revealed. Chapter 31. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Swan martial spirit. What a joke. That's a useless martial spirit, good for nothing but symbolizing royalty. No attack, no defense, totally worthless. Fang Xian, showing no emotion, smoothly sheathed his shadowless knife after slicing his half-brother. Whoa, he's strong. He took down Xuebeng in one move. The surrounding students were stunned. Teacher Lian Rulan's jaw dropped, her beautiful eyes wide with surprise. This quiet, loner student actually revealed hidden skills and shocked everyone. Teacher, am I good enough? Fang Xian's sharp gaze locked onto Rulan. You little bastard. How dare you hit me? Xuebeng screamed, his eyes bloodshot as he glared at Fang Xian, seething. Your mom's a whore, you're a bastard, a piece of trash. I was caught off guard. Do that again, and I'll beat you to a pulp. A long knife flashed, a cold light piercing Xuebeng's right hand. The bloodied blade pressed against his throat. Those cold, ruthless eyes stared him down, sending shivers down the playboy prince's spine. Dead or alive? Fang Xian's lightning-fast move had subdued Xuebeng instantly. His murderous gaze was as cold as ice. Whether this Prince Tiando was genuinely a spoiled brat or just playing the part, he was seriously pissed off now. The sudden change shocked everyone. Even Teacher Rulan was caught off guard. In an instant, the quiet young man had transformed into a terrifying demon. Even she felt a little intimidated by the intense killing intent. Fang Xian, stop. Don't kill anyone. Teacher Rulan yelled, but Fang Xian didn't seem to hear her. The knife remained pressed against Xuebeng's neck. A little pressure, and the dandy prince would be dead. Xue Bang's face was pale, sweat dripping down his forehead. Looking at Fang Xian's emotionless face, he knew it wasn't a game. If he dared to say another word, he would die right there. I was wrong. I don't want to die. Spare me. Xue Bang pleaded desperately. Humph, with a cold snort, the shadowless knife returned to its sheath. Fang Xian remained indifferent. He'd injured an imperial prince, but he seemed unfazed. Quick, you two, get Xue Bang to the infirmary. Teacher Rulan sent 2 students to escort Xue Bang away. After they left, Fang Xian noticed a resentful look on Xue Bang's face, hinting that he wouldn't let this go. There's always a way. He wasn't afraid. You little troublemaker. You're really making things difficult for me. Teacher Rulan put her hands on her head and glared at Fang Xian, annoyed. Even though status wasn't supposed to matter at the academy, Xue Bang was still the prince. Injuring him in class would definitely bring unwanted attention from the royal family. That would cause trouble. Teacher, I want to participate in the genius battle. Instead of worrying, Fang Xian surprised her by asking to participate in the upcoming genius battle. Genius battle? Teacher Rulan was taken aback, a look of surprise on her face. The other students exchanged glances, staring at Fang Xian in disbelief. The genius battle. The highest level competition at Tiando Academy. The best of the younger generation would compete fiercely for the title of strongest player. Students who ranked well would receive significant rewards and attention from the college, leading to specialized training. It was a huge opportunity, however. While every Tiando Academy student was eligible, lower-level Tianwei students usually didn't even bother signing up. Tiando Academy ranked students based on their soul power. Below level 25 was the lowest Tianwei level, 25 to 30 was the intermediate Tianji level, and above 30 was the strongest Tiando level. Against Tianji and Tiando level students, Tianwei students were just asking for a beatdown. That's why few Tianwei students signed up. It was a stage for Tiando level students. You want to participate in the genius competition? Not bad, not bad. You've got guts. Teacher Rulan smiled, patting Fang Xian's shoulder. For the past 2 years, as the lowest-ranking Tianwei teacher, she'd often been insulted by the senior teachers, especially during the annual genius competition. When the senior teachers argued about whose student would win, she sat on the sidelines, feeling miserable. She thought she'd have to wait until she was promoted to a Tianji-level teacher and accepted Tianji-level students to compete in the genius battle, but now, a Tianwei-level student in his 20s was asking to participate, which caught her completely off guard. Great! I've decided that this year, everyone in our class is participating in the genius competition. Maybe inspired by Fang Xian, Teacher Rulan, hands on her hips, announced excitedly. What? How could this happen? The students groaned at the teacher's decision. How could they compete with their level 20-something strength? That was just asking for trouble. It doesn't matter if you don't rank well. The important thing is to learn. Teacher Rulan tried to reassure everyone. The genius battle was basically for Tiando-level students. Tianwei and Tianji-level students were just punching bags for those young soul masters. Out of the 500 students at Tiando Academy, less than 1/10 were Tiando-level. Every Tiando-level student was a rare genius. Over the years, the champions had always come from the Tiando class. Rulan was envious and a little sad, but she knew it was impossible for ordinary students to win. Oh, it would be amazing if I had a champion in my class. Those arrogant senior teachers would be so mad, ha ha ha. After daydreaming for a moment, Teacher Rulan looked at Fang Xian, smiled, and said, Fang Xian, you want to participate in the genius battle, so you must have confidence. How about this? How far do you think you can get? Top 30? Or top 20? The top 10 spots had always been taken by Tiando-level students. Ordinary students shouldn't get their hopes up. She figured that with hard work, Fang Xian could break into the top 30. Fang Xian said 2 words firmly. First.